You all see it. You all see what we're going to talk about. I'm not even going to give y'all a long intro. Let's see what's going on today on. Michaela left gymnastics. Michaela left gymnastics. So today's episode, we are going to talk about the weekly trash. What is the weekly trash? A podcast that I've never heard of that has way more subscribers than me, hosted by a young lady named Josie Van Dyke. Josie Van Dyke this week has decided to sit down and talk to Michaela Skinner. Now, I'm going to just be very transparent. I literally have tried to record this video for 6 hours, right? I've made some clips, I've deleted them, I've tried to do a reaction video, I deleted it because I'm just not sure how I want to convey my perception of this interview, right? I have a very tumultuous relationship with Michaela Skinner, right? Michaela Skinner is typically the type of gymnast I cheer for, right? The underdog, the person who is the eternal alternate, right? But Michaela Skinner keeps doing and saying things that, from my interpretation, are dog whistles. From my interpretations, are acts of privilege. Privilege. It's 100% privilege, right? And this interview that she did her no favors. It did her no favors. Not from the gymnastics community, not in my eyes. It did her no favors. I will give, before I go ham and start tearing her down, because I'm going to do that in this video. It's going to happen. I want to give her some applause and things that I think she did do well. I think she did a very good job of explaining to the public some of the horrible things that was going on in USA Gymnastics. I think she also did a very wonderful job of explaining that how people could have not known. Like, because from my perspective, you've heard me say this a lot on this channel. I feel like that 08 team is something about that 08 team. But she did a very wonderful job of explaining how you could have been a gymnast and not know. But then this lady has contradicted herself so much in this goddamn interview. I'm so upset. I'm so angry. I just don't even know where to start. And I guess I'm going to start at the best part. So, in order to not get copyrighted, because before we even get to that, like, share, and subscribe to these videos. YouTube is on my ass right now. Every fucking thing I post, YouTube is copyrighting, striking it. YouTube is I don't know. I feel like somebody is purposely, trying to get my videos copyrights, but I don't have the proof of that, so I'm not even going to make those accusations. But YouTube has really been on my ass. So they're not pushing out my videos anymore. They're not giving people notifications. Hell, I'm subscribed to my own channel, on my own personal channel that has nothing to do with gymnastics. It's just where I watch YouTube at, and I don't even get the notifications to my post. So I know y'all are not getting these notifications. So y'all have to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you want to make sure you get all the notifications, unsubscribe and resubscribe. Make sure that bell is clicked. Make sure you get all these videos, all these contents, because a lot of y'all keep telling me, damn, Michaela, you haven't posted in like a month. Literally go to my channel, girl. I have a shit ton of videos that I've been posting, but y'all aren't getting these notifications. That's no tea, no shade. Now, going back to the Michaela Skinner thing, right? Before we go into the interview, I want to talk about my own personal biases, my own personal preferences going into this. I've heard this interview one time. Going back to certain clips, because the interview is literally almost 2 hours long. We're not going to talk about this for 2 hours. maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, but not 2 hours or whatever, right? I'm going to break down the 3, 4, maybe 5 parts of the video that I want to talk about that I feel like she was being hypocritical or that I'm praising her for, but mostly that she was being hypocritical and that was pissing me off. And yeah. So we're going to deep dive into it. I'm not going to play the clips. I'm going to play the audio, right? So bear with me. I'm trying something new. I'm reacting to this, not live, but as it's going on, okay? So the first part of the video, I'm going to jump into the best part. The part when she brings up Gabby Douglas and her editing out Gabby Douglas' photo and her putting her own picture up. So I'm going to turn the volume up on my computer and hopefully... So let's run it.
It's normal over here.
Okay, I do have one.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's kind of dirty.
We love dirty.
And I've gotten tons of crap for it, but I'll share it because I like to be real. So
bring it on.
So when Gabby Douglas made the Olympic team,
yes,
obviously I was annoyed because yes, she's an amazing gymnast and I love Gabby.
Yeah.
We roomed together at camps multiple times. Love her. And obviously she just didn't have her A game that night.
Yeah.
She fell twice, I think, got 8th in the all-around at Olympic trials, and I got 4th, and she ended up making the team. So, of course, I was pissed.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, usually after the Olympics, they have, the black and white picture. I keep hitting this. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands. So, they do, a black and white picture and announce the Olympic team, and a girl on Twitter took a picture of me and cropped it in front of Gabby, and I retweeted it. And it was impulsive and a really bad decision because then I had to do a statement and an apology because it was rude. That is pretty rude.
It was mean girl.
But it was
But you were pissed.
I was pissed in the moment.
But you weren't pissed at it wasn't Gabby's fault.
Gabby. Had nothing to do with Gabby. But then when you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, they cropped her. That's rude to her.
Yeah.
If that was me, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty rude.
Yeah.
Even if things weren't fair, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it was the whole racist thing, you're racist because you did. And I'm like, oh my. So anyway,
immediately
that, especially, being in the public eye is not fun.
Yeah.
Is not fun. I'm I am not racist. It was. Yeah. And then that's the hard part because people,
I actually just hate the judges.
Yes. And the Olympic committee and the people, the people that are behind it. So anyway, that was my impulsive decision that I definitely would take back. But, what was I
That's a good
say?
one though. Cause that probably was not only hard to go through, but you just almost were embarrassed that you retweeted it, but also you're still pissed that you didn't get to go.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then it's it's hard because you sit here and you're everyone's attacking you and you're a bully, you're racist, blah, blah, blah. But then it's but then look at you being a bully back.
I was stupid, I was foolish, I was lying to myself.
Because look at the things you're saying about me. You know what I mean? So it's you're not being nice
fire
either. Yeah. So it's just it all kind of, I don't know.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
So anyway, I love
Okay. So this part pissed me off, but this wasn't even the part that pissed me off the worst, you guys. This part pissed me off because she is really trying to do this thing that Karens, that white women, and I hate to make this about race, but damn it, in my spirit, it feels about race to me. And as a black person, Michaela Skinner, you do feel like a racist. It does feel very purposeful. It feels very intentional. Why? Because you say you finished 4th in the all-around of that competition, right? But guess what? You also beat Madison Coachin, right? Where's this smoke for Madison? If you had this smoke for both Gabby and Madison equally, maybe I would feel some kind of, it wouldn't feel so, it wouldn't feel so stink. The sting wouldn't, but you specifically put this heat out for Gabby over and over and over again. You mentioned Madison coaching in this interview too. Where was this smoke about Madison coaching? Madison is your friend. Madison, you room together. But again, you put the smoke at Gabby Douglas once again. As I was just saying, where's that same smoke for Madison coaching? And in this interview, you also talked about Madison coaching for a brief second. There was no animosity in your voice. There was no shade in your voice. There was no, oh, but I still love Madison too. It's just, I felt like I should have been on the Olympic team over her. No, you don't do that when you, and for proof, for evidence, here's her talking about Madison coaching.
And so anyway, we were like, I was with Madison coaching. We were sharing a room, and in the stories, like, he wanted to be your friend. So like he would always go and leave and like get us food because again, we could like never have food, and coaches like would check the girl. Like my coach was never like that. So I'd always like bring all the snacks, and everyone loved me at camp because I'd have like the chocolate, you know, like
the good stuff,
all the good stuff. And so anyway, the girls would always come into my room and take all the treats. And so I always like was loaded with stuff, but like some coaches would check the girls' bag and like throw their stuff away. And so like a lot of times the girls couldn't even like bring snacks with them. It was
as
awful.
They're burning 5,000 calories a day.
Right. And like even one of the girls' coaches like wouldn't let them drink water because you're going to gain water weight. Like crazy stuff.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, you need water. Like it's wild.
Insane.
Yeah. So anyway, with Larry, he like came and brought, we like,
okay, I'm stopping it here because she's going to talk about Larry Nassar. We're going to talk about that because I do feel like she did a good job with that. And that is one thing I'm not going to criticize. That's probably going to be the next part of this conversation. But did you hear anything in that part of, oh, well, I did beat Madison coaching at the Olympic trials too? No, it's no smoke for Madison coaching. It's only smoke for Gabrielle Douglas because she was a black gymnast that beat you, girl. And then also later on in the interview, you spoke on Simone Biles. And you was like, but Simone is such a good person because Simone gave her spot for me. Bitch, you act like you expect Gabrielle Douglas to be like, oh no, girl, I trained for the Olympic Games, and oh no, girl, even though Marta put me on the team, I felt, girl, privilege to the left, motherfucking, girl, you just pissed me off so fucking badly, girl. Just the privilege that you have, girl. The feeling that you are old. Later on in the competition, she talks about, okay, I gotta get my trailers off together. Let's talk about when she talked about Larry Nassar, because I do feel like she did a good job talking about Larry Nassar. So we're gonna get into it. So that was the Gabrielle Douglas part. It pissed me the fuck off, but that was not the part that pissed me off the most. It's this part that pissed me off the most is when she's talking about Larry Nassar. Yes, I'm gonna sit up there and say, I feel like she did a good job in discussing this Larry Nassar part and explaining to the world how like some of the girls literally did not know if they weren't part of, you know, the Vietnam ring or whatever, right? I do feel like she did a wonderful job at that. But even with that, it's parts of that is very privileged, it's shady, and we're going to talk about it. Let me find it. 1 second, you guys.
It's like anytime he was there, everyone was like, I want Larry, our little booty room with her.
Easy.
Yeah.
You got the quads.
It's just, I think it's just cool to see like women do this, the stuff we do, you know, like guys, it's like, oh yeah, they should be able to do that.
Like,
you know,
you should be able to do backflip.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
You got the quads. Go, jump.
Right. So I don't know. Women's gymnastics is just, it's the best.
That's crazy that you're sleeping in that.
Yeah, it was awful. Like mold, always smell like rotten eggs, like these little tiny rooms, like, oh, it was awful. But anyway, there was like an end room where we had a TV and a couch, and then Debbie was the trainer there. So we had her, like, she would travel with us. She was always at camp, and she was the one that I normally got treatment by, but then when Larry would come, he would sometimes come and help. So like he would be in the end room with her. So like the only thing that was ever weird with me is like, you know, like when you get your back worked on or you're getting like a massage, they'll kind of like fold your shorts over a little bit and put a towel.
Yes.
So instead of like doing that and working on my back, because we'd wear like our little booty shorts and a sports bra, you know, and he went up the back of my shorts. And so his arm would be like on my butt cheeks, and then his hand would be like working on my back. And of course, like we're in the room with all the girls and Debbie. So it was like,
you're like, oh, maybe this is
and he was so good at what he did. You know what I mean? Like he was the best. Like anytime he was there, everyone was like, I want Larry, because he was really good at his job. you know, which I guess is how it always happens, you know?
Yeah. So like there wasn't any talk like girls behind the scenes being like, Larry creeps me out.
Not that I heard. I like some of the girls, you know, when all that stuff was kind of happening, I think they all kind of started like, is this?
Comparing stories and being like, wait a minute.
Yes, but I never heard it. And we all kind of thought Larry was weird. Like he was super nice, but just like had weird things, you know, and like he would always text us like before meets and just say like good luck, like, and just like really like
the boundaries were not
clear.
Was
like like it's just like, why are you texting me? Like it was nice, but it's just like, but he's trying to build that friendship and that trust, right?
Yeah.
And then when I went to 2014 Worlds, same thing, like we'd get treatment by him in a hotel room, blah, blah, blah. And I was always in there with other girls, so I was never by myself. But the one thing that was weird, and I've never really talked about this either, because I just feel like with everything that went on, it's not like I was abused, you know, and it just wasn't my place.
But like in a sense,
kind of like, you know, in a way.
Yeah, I feel like anything that made you uncomfortable that was inappropriate, like you deserve to speak on that.
Right. And so anyway, we were like, I was with Madison Koshin, we were sharing a room, and in the stories, like he wanted to be your friend. So like he would always go and leave and like get us food because again, we could like never have food, and coaches like would check the girl. Like my coach was never like that. So I'd always like bring all the snacks, and everyone loved me at camp because I'd have like the chocolate, you know, like
the good stuff,
all the good stuff. And so anyway, the girls would always come into my room and take all the treats. And so I always like was loaded with stuff, but like some coaches would check the girls' bag and like throw their stuff away. And so like a lot of times the girls couldn't even like bring snacks with them. It was
as
awful.
They're burning 5,000 calories a day.
Right. And like even one of the girls' coaches like wouldn't let them drink water because you're going to gain water weight. Like crazy stuff.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, you need water. Like it's wild.
Insane.
Yeah. So anyway, with Larry, he like came and we won the all around at Worlds. So he came and went out, got us like little ice creams. So he came to all of our rooms, and thankfully Madison was in the shower, but like once all this stuff came out, like things, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he knocks on our door, open it, and he just storms into the room and starts pacing and like walking through the room and just like looking and and I think he was seeing if anyone else was in the room.
Yeah.
And then Maddie was in the shower. So thankfully, and then he like gave me my ice cream and left. But it was just like weird stuff.
Well, and
it's
a
like,
grown man to be in your hotel room
creepy.
as a teenage girl.
Right.
He's not family.
Right.
He's not friend. Should not be in there.
I'm like, just stay outside the door and hand me my ice cream. You know, like weird. So anyway, and then he was like, they said he was like a pastor or something, or a priest, or I don't know, something
religious.
Yeah. So like on some of the girls, he used to do like holy water and like weird stuff. But then I'm like, that doesn't make sense though, because he's married and has kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm kind of confused how this is working right now. I don't know.
So crazy.
So wild.
When everything came out, were you like, oh my gosh, I was like in the same room with him a lot?
Like
and
weird. It just like messed with my head, you know, like, because we knew he was weird, but then like he was so nice that it was just like, wait, is this like real right now?
Yeah.
You know? And then my coach, Lisa, was like, it's just awful because she remembers like being at the ranch, and when he was there, like there's a little training room, and she was just like, it was so weird because I remember like girls would go in there and he'd shut the door and close the blinds. And like Lisa was thinking like, oh, maybe because like the beams were right there. So Lisa was like, oh, maybe he's just closing it so like the girls don't get distracted, whatever. Like just all these things. And Lisa's like, how did I miss like what? Like you would have never thought, you know, because he just like was so nice to everybody, and like he was so good at what he did. And then another thing that happened is I went to go get treatment once at championships. And at the time, my physical therapist was the men's trainer. And so at championships, they have men's and women's. And so I was seeing him a lot, but then he was busy one night. So I went, my coach was like, hey, can you work on Michaela's back? And he's like, sure, I'll just take her over here, like back in this corner behind the curtain. And my coach was like, okay, I'll come with. And he's like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll just go with her. And my coach is like, no, I'm going to go with her. So thankfully she was there with me then. And then she was like, so do you guys have any like opening treatments, whatever? It was like after one of the practices before the competition. He's like, no, they're all full, but there's a room at the hotel. So if she just wants to sign up and come to the hotel room, I can work on her. And then Lisa was like, oh no, it's fine. We'll just get treatment tomorrow. Yeah. So there was weird things that Lisa was like, I'm not going to let my athlete
go into your hotel room to get worked on.
So there was just things like...
Especially when it's your lower back and he's literally touching your butt.
Right. So thankfully, like, I was one of the few that didn't have anything happen, you know, but thankfully, like, because there could have been times where stuff probably could have happened, you know?
Well,
yeah, that was really good. And we're going to talk about it more in the next part. So I think Michaela Skinner did an amazing job on this part. And I wish more girls could articulate their experiences with USA Gymnastics to make things a lot more clearer. I feel like, and this isn't the gymnast's fault. They're little girls, and clearly Michaela Skinner is a grown woman, and she had time to think about it. This is why I think the age limit in gymnastics should be 18. This is why, because it's just not about our pleasure as the fans. It's actually as these people, as, you know, human beings. And as a grown woman with a child, Michaela Skinner can explain in sensical ways what happened to her with Larry Nassar. She can explain that I wasn't sexually abused with Larry Nassar, but some weird things happened to me that made me uncomfortable. This is wonderful. I wish, like I said before, I wish more girls was of an age where they could articulate this stuff a lot better, so we, as the fans, really know not just what was going on, but how to handle USA Gymnastics as fans or whatever. So I do really, 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 really like that from Michaela Skinner. But we try to get into some delusional parts, right? But before we get into some delusional parts, she's better say something else about this stuff that is really garnering her a lot of heat on the internet. And I want to play what she said fully, and then we can talk about it. Because I don't feel like what she said was necessarily as bad. Bad still. Let me make that very clear. I feel like it was still bad. I just don't feel like it was as bad as you all are trying to make it seem. I feel like she said way worse in the interview. And after we get to this part, we're just going to get to 100% Michaela Skinner being delusional.
Well, it sucks that it took so long for them to catch on to it, and so many girls had to go through that. Well, the sad thing
was they did know, but he like paid people like Steve Penny, he was the head position of USA Gymnastics, the CEO, and he knew and paid people to keep quiet. And I'm like, why do you have to do that? Like, why not be like, I'm the CEO, I'm going to fix this. Let's get him out. And then there wouldn't have been all these problems. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like people, it's so weird to me.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
I just don't
it's so
get it.
corrupt.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, well, I'm glad that nothing really crazy happened. But honestly, like, even just hearing that, like, that gives me like the chills to know that
so
like
gross.
you were even put in those situations. Like, that's still scary.
Right.
And
well,
like,
then like, think about I don't know if you had the story, but the next door neighbor's daughter, I don't know if she was a gymnast. I might butcher the story, but the parents would send their daughter over to his house and he would treat her in the basement and was doing stuff to her in the basement. And I'm like, what parent like lets their daughter just, I don't care who you trust or who you know. You hear stories all the time of all these, you know what I mean? Like,
well, you can just, you
never
cannot
know.
be so trusting.
Right.
And with anything that's like medical, especially with a minor, like adults should be present.
Right,
a parent should be present.
But you want to know the crazy thing is his parents would be like right there in the office while he was doing it.
Yes, I heard those stories, and that made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
I think as parents, we also need to educate ourselves on like what's normal medical behavior and what's inappropriate.
Right.
Because the fact that he never wore gloves,
I know.
Like, that should have been a red flag, like, right away.
Right. But then it's so hard because I'm like, would I have known that?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't want to judge these parents because I'm a new mom. But it's still like, I just feel like as a little kid, I just always knew, like, you don't go places with a man by yourself.
No.
Like, you just don't.
No, it's gross. He's gross.
Okay, so that was the statement and for you guys. And again, I have to slightly come to Michaela Skinner defense. Slightly. what she said was perfectly reasonable and right. And I'm so sorry. I feel like a lot of people, especially in this Larry Nassar case, is negating the parents' responsibilities, right? Like, yes, Larry Nassar is a monster. He's a villain. He's evil. He's disgusting. He should rot in hell forever, right? What he did was unforgivable, and I hope the man never find peace ever again. With that being said, what Michaela Skinner is saying is correct. Like, a lot of the parents just did not. I'm not gonna say it was as bad as they turned a blind eye, but you literally was in the room and this man was using his bare hands on sensitive parts of your child and you didn't think nothing of it. Like, what Michaela Skinner is saying is true. Like, and it's a hard conversation to have. I don't have children, but it's a hard conversation to have that a lot of these gymnastics parents, they pay so much money into the sport, they give up so much money into the sport that they were turning blind eyes to some things that, looking back on it, not being there, just hearing the stories, I'm like, sir, ma'am, what do you mean you did not know? But people don't like to say that. So on this particular part of the interview, I don't think what Michaela Skinner said was that bad. I think, especially as a gymnast who coaches and who parents actually did their jobs and protected her from the shenanigans, I can completely understand why she said what she said, and I kind of can agree with it. But that also leads me back into your coach, Lisa. Like, Lisa, how did you know to protect Michaela from the shenanigans? Because that's the other half of it. Because I feel like for the people who really did not know, who really was blind, the coaches who really did not know, I can understand because you just did not even suspect that he was capable of it. But it do seem to be a group of coaches that kind of protected their athletes. And to me, it seemed like the only way you knew to protect your athletes, because one of your athletes before these famous ones were one of his victims, and they did come to you. And you could not gotten justice for that young lady. So but your way of compensating for not being able to get justice for that young lady was to make sure it never happened to your other athletes. So you put in certain boundaries and borders that you would let him do certain things, but you wouldn't let him do this because you knew letting him do this gave him keys to the kingdom. And I feel like some of you coaches know a lot more than you're letting on. And I'm happy that Lisa was able to protect Larry the way she was. I'm so sorry. I'm happy that Lisa was able to protect Michaela from Larry the way she was. Maybe it's female intuitions with her as a female, and I hope that's what it is. It was just her female intuition, like something ain't right. With that being said, you was saying, okay, not Michaela, but when you saw him walking them other girls back there, why you ain't say nothing then either? If you had that intuition about your gymnast, as an adult, not a gymnastics coach, as an adult, I do feel like you should have been like, wait, Larry, why are you doing this? And I feel like that's the issue with USA Gymnastics and even with Michaela Skinner. Like, y'all let a lot of shit slide in order to get these girls to where they need to be. And with Michaela Skinner is y'all purposely let her be delusional about a lot of shit in order to get her where she needed to be. Because one of the parts that we're going to get to the delusion part next, one of the parts that is just pissing me off about this interview, she keeps talking about, it's not fair. They should have counted me. I was in the top 4 in 2016, and I was in the top 5 in 2020, and they put me as an alternate, and they took the 4th and 5th girl and took the 7th and 8th girl, or whatever. But the gag is, USA Gymnastics have not went 1 through 6 picking a team since 1996, girl. Ever since Bella and Marta Carelli became the head coaches of USA Gymnastics, they've been telling y'all, we not going rank order at trials. You can only win your spot at trial by coming in first or second place, girl. You know this. Delusional parts of Michaela Skinner coming up next. Oh, this video is getting kind of long, and I just said it wasn't going to be damn 2 hours. And it might be 2 hours after our girl. But I got opinions, and this interview was good. So, Michaela Skinner being delusional. Y'all ready? Here we go.
And then went to 5th by like half a tenth. And they did rank order as they should, which they didn't in 2016. But if it would have been 5, I would have been the 5th. So I would have gotten to be part of the team, which was kind of frustrating. But back in 2016, I got 4th after, because there's 2 days of competition and then they combined your scores. And, according to like the Olympic rule book, it's supposed to be like rank order. But of course, politics, and they're going to do what they want to do, which I get, because sometimes like you need girls for other events because they want to win medals with like different strengths on different things. It's not just all about all around. But they were placed 4th and 5th with 7th and 8th. And so I ended up becoming first alternate. So like super devastating because I worked so hard and wanted it so bad and like did so well, and it just wasn't good enough. Like I remember they pulled us back. So when they're deciding the Olympic team, the Olympic committee goes into a different room and all of us girls go into another room, and like all the fans, all the families are just still out in the crowd waiting like 20.
I'm so sorry. I can't let delusion go on any longer. Michaela Skinner, bitch. Since motherfucking 1999 World Championships, USA Gymnastics on the women's side have never picked 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, whether it was Worlds or the Olympics or whatever the case, at trials. It's always been if you were 1 or 2, and I think maybe like if it was the top 3, you automatically get picked on the team, and then they got to pick the rest of that. Was literally in the rule books. It literally, the way when Marta Carelli restructured USA Gymnastics, she literally took the going 1 through 5 and 1 through 6 in the trials out. And it was part of her discretion to pick her team. That's why Marta and Bella took the job, because they wanted to be able to hand pick their teams. That's why it was Marta's teams. That's just a motherfucking lie. It's just a lie. It's just a lie. It is just a lie. It's how you want to live. It's how your coaches might have told you it was. You may have watched DVDs of the Olympic trials of 96, and that's how it was then. But even in 96, Shannon Miller and Dominique Mucciano still petitioned their way onto the team. That's why Tom Forster was mad to this day that his girl, Teresa Kwiatkowski, did not make it onto the team. But was they ever going to take Teresa Kwiatkowski over Dominique Mucciano or Shannon Miller? Hell no. Just like, were they ever going to take your ass over Gabby Douglas or Madison Coaching? No, girl. No. I keep saying this, Michaela Skinner, and you just don't want to hear this. Your smoke is not with Gabrielle Douglas. Your smoke is not with Gabrielle Douglas. Because guess why? Your smoke is with Lori Hernandez. Or Ali Raceman. But your smoke is not with Gabrielle. Hell, your smoke could even be with Gabrielle Douglas and Madison Coaching, and then I wouldn't have shit to say. But your smoke isn't for both of them. Your smoke is just for Gabrielle Douglas. The next delusional part.
I did pretty well, whatever. So then the second year I made it again. And so I was like, I really want to win this year, And so we're competing. And so after the Nastia Cup, they always would put it with American Cup. And American Cup is an elite competition that the U.S. puts on. And 2 girls per, like they have like probably like 3, 4, 5 different countries that come. And there's only 2 girls like per country that are there. Okay. So like 2 from the US, 2 from Canada, you know. And anyway, Jordan Weber was competing at the American Cup for Team USA. So she was on the 2012 Olympic team. And she was competing at American Cup, and her teammate had made the Nastia Cup. Okay. And we were competing, and the first event was beam, floor, vault, bars. So the first 2 events went really well. We go to vault, and I was competing a 2.5, which is what I competed at the Olympics, which was really rare at my age to be competing. Yeah. And the difficulty was really high. And they gave me a score that just didn't match up with the difficulty. Yeah. And so we're all like, everyone's like, what's going on? So my coach went over and we were trying to figure it out, and they like wouldn't change my score. And so
because this is what y'all white girls do. This is literally Karen. Michaela Skinner, you are literally the Karen of damn gymnastics, girl, because you're telling half truth. You're telling half truth now. Yes, you did do an arm at the Nastia Cup. But tell the rest of the truth, girl. The rest of the truth is this was under the 10.0 scoring system. The rest of the truth is you did a pretty horrible ass 2.5 twist. I'm not saying it was way harder than everybody else is doing. But literally, your chin floor was worth a damn 10.0. Still only a 10.0 is the highest score that your vault could have damn fucking got, girl. So you had a large step, a horrible block. Knees in the air. You deserve the fucking score that you got. Just because you was doing a fucking 2.5, that doesn't mean you deserve more points, bitch. It was under the 10.0 scoring system. You telling half truth ass, Karen ass bitch. Oh, you making me so fucking mad right now, Michaela Skinner. Because this wasn't even a lie that you had to tell. All you had to do was say, I felt like because I did do an arm, they should have scored that vault like a 9.8 something instead of like the 9.4 that they scored it. But guess what? It was under the 10.0 scoring system, not under the open code scoring system. That fucking 9 point whatever score you got, I'm going to put that clip in right here. Michaela, you better put that goddamn clip in of that damn ugly ass vault. Your coaches are lying. Your coaches have lied to you your whole motherfucking career, gymnastics girl. Why didn't you just do it? If you wanted to win so bad, why didn't you just do your chinko full and stick it and get a 10? Strategy, Michaela Skinner. You have no fucking strategy in this damn sport. You have no fucking logic in this motherfucking sport. What you're saying just doesn't make any sense. Yes, you had a great beam routine. Yes, you had a great floor routine. I remember this. It was I think it was 2011. I believe it was 2011 where you was leading after 2 events and then you did vault and you did an arm. And we were thinking it was going to be like 9.8 and they gave you like a 9.4 or something. But that 9.4 was justified, Michaela. It was under the 10.0 scoring system, baby doll. It's like if you went to the NCAA and tried to throw an arm and took a large step and stepped out of bounds and had like your toes wasn't pointing and your knees was slightly bent in the air. Like, yes, in elite gymnastics, that would be good enough. But it's not good enough for the 10.0 quarter points, girl. And this is why this is pissing me off. It's because you know this now. You know how I know this? Because you just was saying before this that you competed in the Nastia Cup the year before that, and you competed in the Nastia Cup under that year. So that was 2 competitions you competed under the 10.0 quarter points. But guess where else you competed under the 10.0 quarter points, girl? When you went to Utah and competed for Utah for 2 years, girl. Like, Michaela Skinner, get out my face, girl, with this delusional ass bullshit. Acts of delusion. Let me find the next one. I'll be right back, girl. Still under delusion of Michaela Skinner.
And then we'd gone to bars and nailed my routine, super good. And we hadn't seen like the scores come up yet because everyone else still had to compete. Yeah. So we're waiting at the very end. We're all lined up on the floor as athletes, and they like dim the lights, put the light on the floor, call out the top 3 finishers, and I was in the top 3. And then someone from USA Gymnastics comes out, pulls me off the floor, and says, "Sorry, we have the wrong order," and takes the other person and puts them in because they the judges were changing the scores because Marta, the Olympic coach, wanted Jordan Weber's teammate, I forget her name, but wanted Jordan Weber's teammate to win the Nastia Cup. So it'd be like a precursor to make Jordan want to win the American Cup. And so
it got taken from you.
Yeah, so it got taken from me, and they changed the scores, and they messed it up so bad that I didn't even place in the top 3. So they were still wanting me to get second, but they messed up the score so bad that I didn't even end up in the top 3. And so I just remember I didn't know at the time. I didn't know what had happened yet, but it was embarrassing. And we were all like, what the heck just happened? My parents were like, what was that? And so my coach was pissed off, and she's like, I don't know. I'm going to try to figure this out. So anyway, we get back to the hotel, and then Jordan Weber's teammate has the big Nastia Lukin trophy. And I was just crying because I was like I should have, gotten the first, it was just, and how traumatizing for a little girl to go and do your best, and you've worked so hard, and then you get it taken away.
Well, and also to think you have it.
And then all of a sudden,
for reasons that weren't right.
Right. So,
as y'all heard in the last part, I better have posted a picture. I better have posted a clip of that damn Arminar. I better have posted a clip of that damn Arminar from this competition. It was not given the way Michaela Skinner is saying she's given. She's just lying. She's lying. She's just lying. She is lying.
Anyway, that night, Marta called my coach Lisa and was like, hey, I want you to come to my room. I want to talk to you. So she told Lisa what happened and said, we know Michaela's amazing. She's very talented, and we're going to start inviting her to national team training camps. So anyway.
So sorry we screwed her over, but here's this.
Yeah. This is how we're going to make up for it.
Now, this is again where she's just blatantly lying, right? I don't know if I played it or not. I don't remember. But watch the full interview. Watch the full interview for yourself. She said that she started going to training camps way back with Nastia and Sean, right? Oh, that might have been 2011. Yeah, that might have been 2000 because they both was. Yeah, that might have been 2000. Yeah, she might not be lying. That might be me misconstruing what she's saying, because I'm thinking when she's saying Sean and Nastia, clearly I'm thinking she's saying that she's been in training camps since 2008. But yeah, I forgot they both was trying to come back for a brief second in 2011. Yeah. I'm sorry, Michaela Skinner. I was ready to jump on your ass, but you might not be delusional on this part.
By torturing her at camp.
So, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Let the abuse continue, right?
Wow.
So, anyway, there's just stuff like that through my whole career where it's just been unfair, and I've been ripped and gypped. And how I kept doing it, I don't know. I feel like I just, being LDS, I feel like just praying and reading my patriarchal blessing and just all the things, it was meant, this is what I was supposed to do.
You felt it.
And so I think that's really what kept me going. But there's times where I'm I don't know how I did it. I don't know.
I'm really trying to think of one competition where I feel like Michaela Skinner was robbed or ripped off. I give it to you. I would give it to you, Michaela Skinner. In 2016, you probably had the best competition you've ever had in your life. But that was a one-off thing, girl. Gabby Douglas was literally the reigning Olympic champion. Madison Cochin was literally the reigning world champion on bars, girl. You weren't going to beat Simone for vault. The only person that I could see you possibly replacing on that team that they constructed was Ali Raisman, and you weren't going to beat. You may have had a better Arminar than Ali. I might give it to you, but that's it. You wasn't touching Ali on the rest of the 3 events, girl. You just wasn't. And that's no shade to you, Michaela Skinner. You just was not touching Ali Raisman on the other 3 events. That's the only, or Lori Hernandez. You may have been a better vaulter than Lori Hernandez, but that's it. You wasn't touching Lori Hernandez on the other 3, not even on floor. You wasn't touching Lori Hernandez on the other 3 events, girl. You wasn't touching Laura Hernandez on the other three events. But let's move on to another act of delusion. In this part, let me find another clip.
I don't know how I kept pushing through it. We didn't have to compete at Olympic trials.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what Jade was doing, because Jade's from Arizona too. And so that's what Jade make it, national competitions. One of the spots that going back. So for the 2 event specialist spot, which was crazy, for one of the spots, you could compete at a certain amount of international competitions and win that spot. So you automatically could make it and go, and you didn't have to compete at Olympic trials.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what Jade was doing, because Jade's from Arizona too. And she did elite kind of after I left and went to college after the last Olympics.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know her that well and whatever. And so she specialized in floor and vault, and that's what I specialize on. And so Tom was like, well, Jade's already been going to these meets. She's probably going to get it. So like, if we put someone else in that individual spot, it will be for bars and beam. And so I'm like, okay, like, I guess I'll just try for the all around, like make it for team, which I guess is cool. Cause I mean, usually we win. Obviously this last Olympics went differently, but I was like, okay, like I'll come back, I'll do all 4. So like worked my butt off. And
you got COVID and pneumonia.
Yeah. Which was awful. Like literally thought, well, and then I had a bone spur injury. So before that happened, it kind of was bugging me in college, like my Achilles, and we went and got MRIs and all these things, and they're like, it's fine. And then it started, once we found out COVID happened, we had a whole nother year to train, which I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I was only going to do this for like barely a year,
Now it's a whole other one.
Now it's a whole nother year. And I deferred my senior year at Utah, the University of Utah, for college. And so I was just like, do I even want to do this? But I was doing so good. Like I came back in 3 months, made the national team, made the world's team, got 4th in the all around, and they take 5 and an alternate. I got 4th in the all around after coming back in 3 months from college for 3 years. And guess what?
Incredible.
Became alternate again. And I'm like, I just beat out 2 people and you're going to make me alternate. Like, so that 3rd time being alternate. And I was just like, you know what, at this point, like, I know what it's like. And I'm like, I'm not going to be alternate again. So I was like, when I get home from this, I'm going to work my ass off just so I can make that Olympic team, you know, because I was like, I am not doing this again. Like, this is awful. And so anyway, then I had the bone spur injury, and then I had, right when I came back from that, so they thought they were going to have to like shave down the bone because it was rubbing into the Achilles tendon because I had a huge bone spur.
That hurt so bad.
It hurt so bad. And it kind of was irritating me in college, but they didn't notice really like anything. And so then when I went to the doctor, anyway, we didn't want to do surgery, got a PRP injection, did shockwave therapy, which hurts like a bit, like so bad. It was so painful. Took a lot of time off. And again, in my gymnastics career, I've had little injuries,
nothing
things, nothing huge. And I was out for a long time for me, which was hard to like come back from. And then it was like right when I came back, I got COVID, and I was so sick for like 3 weeks. My whole family got it. We got it at Thanksgiving because my husband had it. Then I got it. Then I gave it to all my family.
You're sorry.
And I'm like, suckers, you get to die with me. Like, this is awful.
But nobody else got pneumonia, did they?
No, just.
And coming off the heels of the Mary Lou Retton thing, right? This is where I'm saying the delusion that who fault is it that you had at Thanksgiving? Like, you knew you were trying to go for the Olympic game. We were in the heat of COVID-19. I just you, Mary Lou Retton, like y'all act like it's not y'all fault that y'all keep catching COVID, girl. Part a million coming up. Here we go.
Okay, so like prelims is the first competition that you compete in, which determines of what you make at the Olympic Games. And so that meet is like the most important meet that you compete. And so that makes you in for individual events, individual all-around, team finals. And so that there's just like a lot of pressure on the line. And so that meet, we had started on floor, And which was seriously so cool though, because Simone like came over and she's like, it's official, you're an Olympian, you know? And I was like, because like even being an alternate, you're like an Olympian, but like you never competed, so it's just like not the same. And she's like, you competed your first event, you succeeded, it's real, it's happening, you're an Olympian. And so that was like such a cool moment. But I mean, during prelims, like everything seemed, she seemed okay, you know, like it seemed fine. And then, but anyway, we went to vault, and I had been beating Jade on vault all year, and I had put so much pressure on myself, and it was
I wasn't even planning on stopping right there, but here we are. Why? That's the issue, Michaela Skinner. You tell these half-truths, you tell these falsehoods, these Pharisees, but you never explain why. Why were you beating Jade Carey on vault all year? Because Jade Carey didn't do her chung or her Amanar until the Olympics. The whole year she was doing DTY, Lopez, Amanar, Lopez, chung, DTY. She didn't put both of her 2-bit vaults together until the Olympics. But individually, she was beating you all year, girl. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. Oh, and this part is when she's talking about Simone being so gracious and giving up her spot on vault for her.
It was awful. And so Jade goes and nails both of her vaults. And I was so Jade went last on vault. I went before her. And I was like, okay, I have to nail these vaults. I want to make it into vault finals because I didn't make it in for floor finals because Jade and Simone made it in. But Jade has higher difficulty than me. So I was like, okay, like she's probably going to make it on floor. And then you can only have there's a 2 per country rule for the individual events. So I placed 3rd on vault, and only the top 2 can go from the US. Only the top 2 can go from Russia. So I didn't make it in because Jade went, nailed her vaults, and her score came up, and she beat me out. And I just remember like talking to my coach, Lisa, and I just start bawling. And it was like so embarrassing because like the cameras were like all in your face. And then I'm like trying not to cry because I was like, I need to be here for my team. I want to be positive.
Happy, but also like you're sad for you.
Yeah, because I was like, this was like, I mean, obviously I made the Olympics and that was my goal, but like I usually make it in for floor or vault. So it was just like so devastating because I was like, I'm retiring after the Olympics. Like I'm not going to go back and finish my senior year at school.
And this is why I have so much smoke for you, Michaela Skinner. Another bitch you should have smoke for is Grace McCallum. Because in all honesty, Tom Forster should have put you on the main team over Grace McCallum in 2021. You were more vital to that team than Grace McCallum was in 2021. But there's no smoke. He was like, oh, well, I finished in 5th. Even though in 2021, you were part of the highest scoring team over Grace. There's no smoke. Let's continue because we're going to wrap it up with this one because we've been on here for a while.
And so I was like, this is like it, you know? And so I was like, I don't even like get a shot to like do a medal or win a medal because I wasn't part of the team. So I wasn't competing in team finals. And so it was like so devastating. And anyway, after that, I was just like, I don't even freaking care anymore. Like freaking screw this. I'm going to like freaking finish the Olympics. Like I'm going to do the best that I can do. Like I'm here again. I deserve to be here. And so I went to bars and it was like all the stress was gone. I just felt so relaxed, had the best bar routine of my life, went to beam, had the best beam routine of my life. And it was just like, I did that. Like I just competed in the Olympics. Who cares that I didn't get a medal? A lot of Olympians don't get a medal. Yeah. And I was like, I just inspired so many young athletes to like go out there and chase their dreams. And that was like the most important thing to me. And of course that night, like I went back to my room and I was pissed off. Yeah. And I'm like, again, like this has to happen again. Like I've been alternate and like things just have never gone my way. And I just remember like getting down on my knees and I just prayed. And I was just like, why does this have to happen again? You know, like it was so devastating. And I was like, I just wanted to be in vault finals like one last time. And I just had this small voice come to me that said, it's not over yet. And I was like, but it's over. Like it's, you know, Simone and Jade made it in. And my mom called and she we were talking like multiple times, and I told her that I was going to fly home. And Tom, the Olympic coach, gave us permission, my coach and I, to fly home early because like there's a whole nother week of stuff going on. And I was like, I'm just ready to go home. Like, I don't need to sit here for a whole week. But I was like, I really want to stay and watch team finals. So anyway, they booked my flight. Team finals was 2 days later. And I was just like eating like a pig, like doing my thing, like, like I'm done, like, woohoo, you know? So we go to team finals, and Jade and I are sitting in the stands. And then vault was the first event. And that's when Simone got the twisties. And Jade and I seriously look at each other and we're like, what did that just happen? Like, are you freaking kidding me? So we go back into this like little training room, and we like got some water, and we're just like, okay, so like Jade's like, does this mean like I'll go in for all around and like all these things? And I'm like, does this mean I'll have to go in for vault? And I was kind of mad because I was like, I was ready to go home at this point. I was over it. And anyway, my coach texts me and she's like, come back up here. They're changing your flights. You're staying. And so Simone, I guess, had told her coach, Cecile, text them right now and tell them that Michaela needs to stay, like after she competed on vault. So they literally changed my flight like that fast. And then vault finals wasn't for like another 2 days. Yeah. And so like Simone still had the chance to like go back and train and like. Yeah. So you didn't know for sure. I didn't even know for sure. But that night, after team finals, she had texted me and said like, you're going in for vault. And there's no one else I'd rather go in for vault for me than you. And at first I was like, she's kidding. Like, I mean, she wouldn't say that. Right. But I'm like, she's giving up an Olympic medal. Like, she's not even going to try. But I think because she got the twisties on vault, I think she was just like, I'm not even going to mess with that event. Like, I'm not even going to go there. So she did try the other events to see what she could do. And she only ended up doing beam. But I was just like, I can't believe she did that. Like, how nice of a teammate. Like, there's, you know, like, we did have our moments, like, with all the girls. Like, it does get hard, which we only see each other, like, once a month, or if we go, like, to compete internationally. So we're not with each other all the time. So, like, I feel like we get really excited to see each other every, like, month or so. And so, like, obviously we don't really ever have beef. But I was just like, I can't believe you're, like, you're just going to throw it away and give it to me. You know, like, how nice.
And that's the moral to the story of Michaela Skinner's gymnastics career. Michaela Skinner, you expect the Gabrielle Douglas to do the exact same shit. You expect the Gabrielle Douglas to be like, you know what? No, I finished in 8th at nationals. I had like 3 falls at trials. No, let Michaela Skinner go. I would be the alternate. I already won an Olympic gold medal. Nobody other than Simone Biles is going to do that for you, me, a tree. That's just unrealistic, girl. That's just unrealistic. And I'm happy that you went to the Olympics and won your silver medal, but I almost wish Simone Biles, I wish somebody else had a second vault and would have beat you too, girl, because that just is so. That's the privilege, though. There it is. That's it. That's 100%. That's the privilege. That's it. That's the shit that annoys me about you. You know exactly what the fuck you be doing. I used to think it was your coaches. I used to think it was Jonas. I used to even think it was your parents. But by this interview, you let me know it's you. It's you. It's you. And not to look past those white girl tears. Karen of Gymnastics Girl, I see you. And this was some bullshit. And the weekly trash was the perfect name for this interview, because this whole interview was motherfucking trash. You sat up there and you deflected. You sat up there and you bullshitted. You sat up there and you half-truth. You sat up there and you did everything that a Karen motherfucking do. And I don't motherfucking like that, girl. Tell the truth. Why didn't you get these spots? Not just, they shouldn't have gave it to me. No, tell the truth. You were not part of the strategy. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of